Hello everyone, welcome to CRYTX Tech. Today we are looking at the legendary Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. And what do you think when you hear the name Ultra?
The Ultra for Ultra.
For Ultra.
For Ultra. Ultra.
For Ultra.
For Ultra.
So, the S24 Ultra. It's been a while since I reviewed an Android phone. So, to make sure that I use this phone, I also ordered the Buds Pro and also the Galaxy Watch just to test out the Samsung ecosystem with it. This phone has been out for almost a year now, and the S25 is right around the corner. Also, this will be getting the One UI 7 in Feb, so stay tuned for that as I will be making a review on that. And since I have been using this phone for almost 8 months now, I have been comparing this with other phones as well. So this is my review of the S24 Ultra, and let's dive into the world of Ultras, shall we? S24 Ultra has the same design going on since 2022 and has been passing on over the years. The titanium frame has been really durable, and with this massive form factor, it also packs in a stylus, that's the S Pen, which has been one of the most unique feature not found on any other phone. And I really like the even bezels throughout the phone, unlike the phone before this. Talking about you, the S23 Ultra. The flat screen on phones these days are a welcoming change, but I definitely prefer the curved screens that were presented before the years, just like the S23 Ultra, and I still love the screen on my S10 Plus as well. The only two things that I would change in this phone is maybe make the phone a little bit narrower and also taller. I would also change the button placement. If you have a massive hand, you might not be able to hold this. The size of this phone comes down to the display on this. And this has a massive 6.8-inch LTPO AMOLED display which goes from 1 Hz to 120 with a peak brightness of 2600 nits and also comes with upgraded anti-reflective coating. In short, the display on this phone is one of the best out there. Let it be watching the latest movies, TV shows, doom scrolling to Instagram, and even browsing the web. Everyone has been talking about the anti-reflective coating that's new on this phone, but it doesn't actually affect me much. And the grains issue on the display might also be due to the matte screen protector on this phone. And this phone can actually go up to a max brightness of 2600 nits outdoors, which is a crazy amount. To sum things up, this is one of the best display in any phone out there. Having this display at 1440p at 120 Hz, auto brightness on and always on must be draining on the battery, right? So let's talk about the battery on this phone as well. Battery on this is a 5000 mAh cell which supports up to 45 watts of wired charging, 25 watts of wireless and 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging. This is a battery champ. And the battery on this just lasts for 1.5 to 2 days of medium to heavy use. You can see here the screen on time on this device has been great. I have been using this phone a lot and played a lot of games on this as well. And the 45 watts of charger will help you get the battery topped up even faster. I haven't seen this go beyond 33 watts, and 15 minutes will get you up to 14%, 80% in 40 minutes, and 1 hour and 15 minutes to go to max. 80% in 40 minutes is a lot. And if you are a heavy user, you can just charge it in the morning for 40 minutes and you're good to go for the whole day. So while charging this phone, I have found out that this phone charges the battery a bit different compared to other phones like my 16 Pro and the S10 Plus as well. I think this is a software feature built into the Samsung to get the phone charged up more faster compared to others. I have been using this phone at performance profile to light and have been doing this since the day I got it. And this test has been done with the performance profile at light. And keeping this at normal would usually give me around 15% less battery life compared to the light. Coming to the USB 3.2, and this is a pretty fast port, but does fall behind the iPhone, where the data usually takes a bit longer with 33% slower speeds. This might not affect you, but if you transfer files every day and you work with larger files, it might be something to consider about. What good is a battery if the performance can't keep with its daily needs? This brings me to the performance on this, and this has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for Galaxy. With 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB storage, the day-to-day performance on this is great, and all the apps open quick and also keep them running in the background. I think it's thanks to the 12 GB of RAM. Not sure if One UI 6 has the animation going on, but this phone feels fluid all over the UI. Let's see how this compares to other phones in this price range with the performance profile turned to normal. Comparing this with other phones, and this is 42% slower in single core and 22% slower in multi-core compared to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And GPU is around 60% slower. 3D bench scores are just 2 to 3% lower, which can be a margin of error. And so this gives a stability of 68.8% overall, which is not too bad. Even the CPU throttling test gives around 84% stability, which is great for this, as this might be because of the vapor chamber found inside this phone. Antutu actually scores 2.5% better on Samsung this time, which is great to see, as this might come better in some benchmarks. These scores doesn't matter much at all because the phone feels fluid and fast throughout the UI and while playing games as well. Coming to the gaming, this runs the games at max settings with sustained performance due to the new vapor chamber found on this phone, and also the performance profile is turned off for the games. And all of the AAA games are gonna run on this phone no problem. Don't forget that this phone also has DeX mode in it, and I have never used the DeX mode on this phone, but heck, you can connect to an external display, connect a controller and play all the games you want, or you can use this for productivity tasks as well. Coming to the software on this phone, this currently is running on One UI 6.1.1 and will be getting One UI 7. Samsung has promised up to 7 years of software update, going up to 2031 and Android 21, which is matching the Pixel's track record and also overperforming Apple. There aren't many lags and slowdowns on this phone. Might be that the Samsung has finally listened to the customers, or might be due to the case of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 as well for Galaxy. But we will have to see how this performs in long run, that is if I have this phone for that long, as I think I will be upgrading to the S25. AI has been the talking point on phones last year since 2024, and Samsung has following the same trend on this. All the AI features on Samsung has been more or less gimmick. Out of all of these AI features, the most that I use on this phone are basically circle to search, and the name explains it all. This is basically you can circle to search anything on your phone, just like the Google Lens version found on the previous Android phones. Photo Assist is good as well, and you can use to basically move your subject around or maybe use it as a magic eraser as well. Call Assist and Note Assist are good too, which I usually use once every month. But I don't usually use any other AI feature found on this phone. As I said, it is a gimmick so far, but we'll have to see what Samsung brings in 2025 this year. But the software is not all AI, and Samsung has implemented some really good features into the software itself to make it perform better day to day, like the performance profile, giving low performance on cost of better battery life, which I must say should be on every other S24 Ultra as well as the S23s. I want to make a point on this, as one hand mode is one of the best features I have been using in Samsung so far, as due to the large size, it does come in handy every day. Also last year I got a notification saying I have been using this phone 2 hours more since last week, which is one of the good software features for the health being that is being added on to Samsung. I have been really happy with the software on this phone so far, but it does have some bugs all over the phone. Like the screen just stops sometimes when I go back to the home screen. I'm not sure if this is a software issue or because I have installed Nova Launcher in it, and even the keyboard sometimes just stops coming up. But this is nothing too serious and is just a software feature which might be updated in One UI 7.0.
Let's also test the speaker quality on this phone compared with the 15 Pro Max and the 16 Pro.
Finally, if you have been waiting so long on this video, thanks for watching, and let's look at the cameras on this phone. This has not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras in this phone in total, excluding the laser autofocus sensor. So the main sensor is 200 megapixel at f1.7, 12 megapixel f2.2 is ultra wide, 10 megapixel 3x lens at f2.4, 50 megapixel 5x lens at f3.4, finally one selfie camera at 12 megapixel at f2.2. To spoil you, all of these cameras perform amazing, be it in any scenario. But there is one problem that we will discuss later. First, let's look at the photo taking experience on this phone, and it does capture photos fast, similar to the iPhone, and the One UI it's much similar to the iOS. The photos taken on this phone at daytime are just amazing, and it has a stabilized look to it. You can see compared to the iPhone 16 Pro, the photos sometimes are blurry, or if it's a moving object, it might usually introduce the motion blur in it. And you can see this motion blur in most of the photos out there. But if you take your time taking the photo, it will turn out amazing. And the 50 megapixel 5x lens is a new addition this year, and I'm not sure if the 5x was the way to go from the 10x found on the S24 Ultra, but this is a 50 megapixel lens, which means when you're cropping into the 10x, it does still maintain the same quality of zoom found on the S24 Ultra. And it provides with the same zoom options. But for a crop sensor, it does take good 10x photos. Coming to the night mode on this phone, and they turn out good as well, as it retains the dark night look even at harsh lighting, which can't be said about all the phones that came out last year. Even at the harsh lighting, the photos do turn out good. Just don't zoom much at night, as the photos might come up grainy. Now coming to the videos, and it takes one of the best videos out there, and it's comparable to all the flagships. Heck, this phone can also do 8K at 30 FPS and even 4K at 60, which is a great standard to have. But it is a bit slower compared to the likes of the iPhone 16, which does go up to 4K at 120 FPS. And even the stabilization in the video isn't comparable to the iPhones, as you can see in the clip. But there is a trick, as you can record the slow-mo video at 4K at 120 FPS and then make it faster in the post-processing. I had done this test with the S24 Ultra and the 14 Pro way before, and it was the same result. Not sure if Samsung is doing anything to improve in the software used in the camera so far. To sum things up for this camera, I would give this an 8.5 out of 10 just for the versatility of this camera. And also it gives you more zoom range between 1 to 10x. There are many software features just like single take, expert RAW, and also dual record, which does come in handy during the one time that you want to use them. We have come so far in this video without talking about the S Pen on this, as this was one of the things that you don't wish for, but it is a good bonus to have. I haven't used this S Pen a lot just until this review. I mean, yes, I would jot down notes on this from time to time, but beside that, I never use this for the awesome stylus that it is. And I don't use it much just for the fact that I just have an iPad and the pencil. If you use your S Pen in some niche purpose on your S24 Ultra, just let me know in the comments below, and I'm already jealous of you. Yes, you. Finally, coming to the conclusion on this phone. This has One UI 7 due on Feb, and also the S25 is just around the corner, supposed to be launched on 22nd or 25th of Jan. But these are just rumors, we'll have to see how it goes. Still at the current stage with One UI 6.1, and still is one of the best phones to grab in 2025. Be it the pros of this, that's the anti-reflective display, new titanium design, cameras, battery, performance, and also freaking 7 years of software update. This phone has one of the best design, but is still bulky while using it. Comparing with the predecessor that I used, the S21 Ultra and even the Note 10 Plus, which were actually handy compared to this phone. Because of the boxy shape or the thickness of this phone, it does come under some of the big phones out there, which can be solved with one-hand mode, which makes the screen size smaller. And the grains issues on the display might be a small inconvenience for some, which might be a worst case in some other models as well. And you can't forget the bloatware that's found on this phone, as it's a lot. Also, the inconsistency in the photo taking experience on this phone might be solved if you take a little bit more time taking the photo in the Expert Pro RAW. This phone, being almost a year old, can actually be found in the refurbished market as well, which goes as down as $1,200, which is an amazing deal for this phone, and it should be one of the considering factor for buying this phone over any other in 2025. Also, comparing with the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, this does pack in way more features compared to those phones, and the Pixel 9 Pro also lags behind this phone a lot. Also, one more thing, the S Pen might be on the wrong side of the phone when you think about it. That's been it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.